hardest man alive, the only member of the U.S. Armed Forces to complete SEAL training, the U.S. Army Ranger School, and the Air Force Tactical Air Controller training. I think it is abundantly clear that this man is a self-made beast.
I was in the military. We go on these instructor-led runs. Most of the time we knew the start and end point. So on the way back, I started seeing people getting happy and shit because the end was near. But there were some asshole instructors that would hear the happiness and go right on past the end point. When that happened, everybody stopped talking. Heads would stop dropping. And I started taking fucking souls. At that time, I knew what happened in their mind. They were living off the hope factor. They hoped the instructors would stop running. They hoped the water was never cold. They hoped the weather was fucking good. I don't live off that hope shit. I wish the water was cold. I wish them motherfucking instructors keep on fucking running. I wish the fucking rain. When the ending is unknown and the distance is unknown, that's when you know who the fuck you are. Stay hard. When the ending is unknown and the distance is unknown, that's when you know who the fuck you are.
Boom, and we're live. Thanks for doing this, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
You're the only guy I've ever had in the studio where when I showed up, you were working out.
That's what I do, man. That's my life. That's my life.
It's pretty crazy, though. You are a guy that, for a lot of people, you sort of embody the idea of hardening your mind,
right,
and figuring out a way to do things that most people think are impossible.
Right.
You've sort of become that guy over your life, and you've become that guy for a lot of people, including me, online. We've talked about you on the podcast a ton of times.
Right.
So having you in here has been it's very exciting to me.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
How'd you become that guy?
You know what? I grew up not that guy.
Yeah.
So a lot of people put a title on me. They want to, they see me now. They see me now as the guy that with his shirt off who can do 4,030 pull-ups in 17 hours, who can run 205 miles in 39 hours, who can do all this crazy shit. But what they don't understand is they don't understand the journey that it took me to get to this point. And what got me to this point was I was just the opposite of what I am today. I was that guy who ran away from absolutely everything that I got in front of me. But not many people knew that. I had two people. Like the real me was like this very scared, insecure, stuttering, got beat up by his dad, all this kind of stuff. And then I built this fake person that walked around like my shit didn't stink, you know?
Right.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I did it. And through a process of time, I realized that I was lying to myself and lying to people. But we don't take a second to realize the purpose is always there. The purpose never leaves us, because the very purpose is you. You are always the purpose. There may be another purpose, like being a SEAL or going to college or whatever, but the main purpose in life is you. So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, man, why am I not doing this for myself?
But it's a fascinating journey, though, because you are that guy now.
Right.
I mean, you genuinely are a legit badass.
Right.
And at one point in time, you were a legit terrified person.
Yes.
So what was the process? Like, how did you step forth?
You back! I'm back, motherfucker! I'm back! All of this fucking solitary confinement shit got me back. Bad times. And all around you is crumbling. And all those have quit. That's when you know who the fuck you are.
Your mind starts to change. Your mind starts to change. They say get in the water, most people think about it. For you, it became my life. So I started learning that if you start to change your mindset versus it being like, oh my God, this sucks, I became a professional bud student. So I wasn't gonna leave until I graduated. So I started realizing if this is my home, this is what I am, I had to always reset the bar. I had to reset my new norm. There always had to be a new norm. So one thing we don't do is we don't have a new norm. My new norm is you get up every fucking morning at 4 o'clock and you suffer. This is your new norm. That became my new fucking life. Most people want to get out of it. I said, no, motherfucker, this is your new life. This is who you are. Your new norm is you wake up and you suffer. And I started realizing if that's my mentality, this shit ain't hard anymore.
Right.
Your fucking new norm is you wake up, you get in the fucking cold water, you're gonna be here till the shit's fucking done. Whenever they say you're out, you get out. So my new norm, I do that now today. My new norm now is if I'm doing a 200-mile run, your new norm now, man, is you fucking are doing 200 fucking miles. I really started to enjoy the fact of seeing what the human mind was capable of and seeing that what is so horrendous, there's so much joy and glory in this shit. And when you see other alpha males like, SBG in the book, he was one of the hardest guys in the SEAL teams. He's looking at you like, the fuck is wrong with you?
Right.
And that fucked me up because my knee was, it was broken. It was.
All I need is a miracle. Well, guess what? That miracle ain't coming. There is no perfect time to start. You gotta start now with changing your life. We're all being tested in life. And guess what? This is one test you can't cheat on. We all have our own test. Some of us are obese. Some of us are depressed. Some of us are insecure. In the military, we had this big old rucksack on the back. Had batteries, water, extra gear. Your extra gear is the shit you're dealing with in life. And the only way to overcome it is for you and you alone to face it. You have to do your best work when you're the least motivated. So those days you don't want to do it, guess what you gotta do? You gotta suck it the fuck up and do it. Stay hard. I'd rather you hate me and get better than like me and stay the same. A lot of us are full of shit. I was one of those people back in the fucking day. And sometimes I'm still full of shit. We think that we're working our ass off, working hard. We've been working out hard in the gym for a month, but we haven't seen any results. So we get all fucking down and poopy pants and shit. You study for 30 minutes for a fucking test, and you didn't do as well as you thought. What the fuck did you expect? You're not putting in the work. You have to do more. You gotta stop telling yourself that you're doing enough. In life, it's never enough until you feel this overwhelming feeling of shit, man. I'm outworking the crowd. I'm outworking everybody. I'm doing more. It's not until then, once you get there, that's when you fucking know you've done enough. Stay hard. Think about how many years, months, hours, seconds, days, all that shit you have wasted on people who suck the fucking life out of you. Today's a good day for you to go through and shit can those motherfuckers. Shit can those motherfuckers who only call you when they fucking need something. Shit can those motherfuckers who can't get over shit, who continue to bring up shit from the past, who can't move forward. Life is short. Life is precious. Spend that time with the people you love, the people you want to give that time to. Real friends, real family. Everybody else, they're just sucking up the air you breathe. You need that motherfucker to be hard. Stay hard. So if you've ever gone to the mall, there's this store called Build-A-Bear. And all these little kids are in that store trying to build the bear, the perfect bear that they want. Take it home, be happy of it. Yeah, I'm talking about build a fucking bear right now. So we have the same tools to do that with our own personal lives. But what happens is the quitting mind comes in. We have to find our new norm. A new norm is something like this. When I was going through SEAL training, it's only supposed to be 6 months. I was there for 18 fucking months. Kept on getting set back and set back and set back. You gotta change your mindset to know my whole job now is at 4 o'clock in the morning. I get the shit kicked out of me for 18 months. You gotta create that new norm. That has to be your lifestyle. You are the master of your own mind. Create that masterpiece. Be proud of yourself at the very end of it all. When I was going through Ranger School, we had to do a lot of spot checks. A spot check is basically, we don't have time to get all your gear laid out to make sure you have all your shit. So a spot check is maybe they'll check out 2 items. Maybe making sure you have your extra batteries, extra ammo, whatever it may be. The whole idea of a spot check is to make sure that you're staying squared away, because you don't know what kind of item they're gonna check on. So how does that apply to your life? This is how it applies. You wanna make sure you spot check yourself, make sure you stay dialed in at all times. It's also important to check, spot check your boys, your girls. Make sure that they're staying hard. Call them up in the middle of the night. Give them a call and say, hey, tomorrow at 8 o'clock, we're gonna fucking get after it. Make sure they're staying dialed in. There's so many times in life you don't wanna be doing what the fuck you're doing. You can't just fucking quit. Remember this isn't a hobby, this isn't a fucking joke, it's a fucking lifestyle. So what you say to yourself is important. There's no fucking coach, there's no trainer to keep you going, it's only you. So think about this, you've been working your whole life to get a fucking seat at the table. The seat at the table is you wanna be the best amongst all the best people in your fucking career field. So you finally get that letter. It's steak, lobster, it's a big dinner. Everybody's showing up, dressed to the nines. Make sure you show up soaking wet for fucking getting after it, working out hard. Towel around your neck. You respect the event. So make sure you put that towel over that nice chair so you don't fuck it up. The whole thing is this. Don't say a word. Stay uncommon amongst uncommon people. You're never done. Don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done. Stay hard.
I'm Andrew Huberman, and I'm a professor of neurobiology and ophthalmology at Stanford School of Medicine. My guest today is David Goggins. David Goggins is a retired Navy SEAL who served in Iraq and Afghanistan. He's also a highly accomplished ultramarathon runner. For those of you that don't know, ultramarathons are distances longer than 26 miles, and in David's case, often longer than 200 miles. For his achievements in athletics, he has been inducted into the International Sports Hall of Fame. He also held a Guinness World Record for the most pull-ups completed in 24 hours. I should mention that not only was David a decorated Navy SEAL, but he also graduated from Army Ranger School. David is also a highly successful writer, having authored 2 books, the first entitled Can't Hurt Me, and the second entitled Never Finished, both of which are bestsellers. David's books cover many topics, including his autobiographical description of what can only be described as an incredibly challenging child and young adulthood. His home was abusive, his school environment was abusive, he essentially had no positive resources directed his way. And in his 20s, he found himself to be obese, that is more than 300 pounds, working a job he despised for minimal pay. And it was at that point that David began an inner dialogue that forced him to explore the demons born out of his childhood, but also the position that he found himself in as a young man. And then began the journey to navigate that dialogue and transform himself into the Navy SEAL, the ultramarathon runner, the best-selling author, and the extraordinarily positive and influential man that he is today.
I'm gonna ruin my cartilage. I'm gonna need a knee replacement. I would start thinking, I would go down that line. But he is perpetually in this push it mindset. You know, what he calls the dog in him. You know, he's got, that dog is in him all day long, and he feeds that dog.
We have an obligation to live our lives to the absolute fullest. Life is one big tug of war, and you don't win that tug of war by pushing the rope. You have to pull that motherfucker. And a lot of times you have to pull yourself through life. This morning, I did not want to get up, so I had to pull my ass out of fucking bed. But guess what? The more and more I got into that run, each fucking step into that run, I started gaining more and more confidence. We think they arrived. I've arrived mentality. You're always setting the example. Civilization feels so good. These comfortable feelings are what people want. They want retirement. They want that. They need that. It's a yearning feeling. I want it too. People love putting a label on me about, my God, man, you're just wired different. I'm not fucking wired different, dude. I'm thinking right now, after I got past my stuttering thing, now I'm on a roll, I'm good now. You know what I'm thinking about right now? I gotta fucking wake up tomorrow and do the same shit again. I gotta leave this fucking interview and go stretch out for 2.5 hours. I hate that shit. But guess what it does though? I'm constantly callousing over my victim's mentality that I once had growing up. Every day you have to do this shit. Because why? When you stop doing it, you don't just maintain it. If you stop shooting a gun,
And I could be a great shot if you pick a gun up a year from now. The only way to keep from getting rusty is to constantly oil that motherfucking machine. The machine is this. You gotta keep challenging it every day. That's all I'm talking about. Like your biggest enemy, the most important conversation you will ever have in your fucking life is the one you have with yourself. You wake up with it, you walk around with it, you go to bed with it. Eventually, you're gonna act on it, whether it's good or bad. You have to. That's why the whole thing about this book I have, it's about you. It is about you. It's strictly about you finding who you are. So many people live 100 years, never fucking know who they are. Never know who they are. You have to look in that mirror and know there's so much more in here, man. Because I can literally right now be a 300-pound guy spraying for cockroaches still to this day. If I did not look in that mirror and say, there has to be more to this. This can't be it. And then willing to go into it, dive deep into it, and give all I have to find it. So that's what all that's about.